recent battle that we had with me and Jared, and I was the Rebels again, as usual, because that's the only ships I have, and he was the Imperial. We're getting ready to go down to Denver for regionals, and I've been messing around with a bunch of different fleets. I had a mc80 Swarm that I was using, and it wasn't holding up against Sloane fleets very well, and I figured I might see a lot of those, so I decided to switch to bigger ships with more flak that could deal with the squads a little better without just dying. Also, the strategic advisor was giving me a lot of trouble with my fleet because I couldn't get in and last first people, which I was sort of depending on, which I know is a crutch and sort of a weakness, but it was how my fleet worked, and so I switched to something else because that wasn't working. So what I'm doing here is I have this mc75 with an mc80, and they're both fairly heavily loaded, and then a couple of transports for tokens, and then some A-wings for squad cover. In another build, I had Tycho and Shara instead of just 4 generics. I had Tycho, Shara, and 2 generics. And they lasted a little longer, but I ended up wanting the points so that I could get XI7s on both of my big ships. Because in that match, I shot at this ISD a lot, but without XI7s, it wasn't nearly as effective. He was able to redirect a lot of the damage and so on. So I have my mc75. This is an Ackbar fleet. And I do have strategic advisor, so it's sort of like a 5 activation fleet. I have veteran gutters for rerolls, because with all these red dice, I don't like going out without being able to reroll. It usually just leads to me being upset about how the dice are rolling. I put ECMs on both ships because I don't like having my brace locked down. I'm trying out these ordnance pods against squads, against these Sloane fleets, and I have found that being able to have another round of shooting is pretty helpful, even though it's just 1 die, and especially since you can use it out of the a hull zone that you've already shot out of. And then the XI7s, like I said. Ackbar's on the mc80. I wanted to make this thing, hopefully, so it wouldn't die, so I put ECMs and EWS, the early warning systems, on it. I haven't played with the early warning systems much, but from what I've used it, it's pretty effective. The idea was also to be able to take away a hull zone from Sloane, so the mc80 wouldn't get Sloane to death, at least on one hull zone, and then have, a transport covering the other side, or some of my A-wings covering the other side, to give me at least 1 turn of survivability. I brought the assault cruiser for the extra red die, and also for the double blue die flak. I wanted as much flak here as I could get. So on this mc80, I have Bliss X on there so that I can get a brace token back if it does happen to get slowed away, or if I have to use it a bunch, which it's going to be really hard to get that brace token away from him, which should give that mc80 a lot of survivability. And then he has ECMs. He has the leading shots so that he can have rerolls on the red dice. Defiance, which I should be able to delay. I have a high activation fleet here, so it'll give me the extra die. The med teams are just thrown in there to get me up to 400. One thing I am thinking about doing is trying to get maybe a little bit of a bid in case I run up against 400-point fleets, because I really do want to go second, especially with Defiance and things. And then my XI7s. So I may lose the med team, and I may lose, maybe a comms net or something like that, because both comms nets weren't really that useful. So that I am able to get in a little bit of a bid. That'd be a 3-point bid, which, that'd be enough to go against a 400-point fleet. All right, so just as a heads up, this game did not go well for me, this match. The previous one went better. This one, not so well. Well, this is how we deployed. I did contested outpost. And I don't know if that is an objective I'm going to keep around in my fleet. I may have to switch it up and do a different objective, because contested outpost, it really makes me predictable in which way I'm going to fly. Anyway, I'm going to have to look at that. I don't know if contested outpost is the way I'm going to go. And that's what we ended up playing. He picked contested outpost. And so I set up down here. I set up so my gun line would come around, in theory, come across this way and be able to shoot at him the whole time. what ends up happening, you'll see, is he jumps this guy going in speed 3 into right in here, which kind of messes me up. And so I turn and come up this way to be able to, get outpost points and be able to shoot him too. What ends up happening though is he has price and is able to last first my mc75, which really turns the tide of this whole game. Price, I feel, I mean, he did some good flying, but Price really changed things. He set up Price for turn 2. So turn 1 he jumped in, and turn 2 he made sure that he was able to go last so he could see where I was going to go. I don't know if it made much difference, but I felt like it did, because then I had to move into range of him. He shot me, and then he could move again and shoot me again. Anyway, we'll roll forward here. So here we have the end of turn 1, the beginning of turn 2. You can see that he has moved his ISD at speed 3 up into, I think he went speed 3, up into here. And I, to sort of not run across this way and just get rammed by his ISD, have turned in order to try to get broadsides on him, stay in range of the station, and set up my ships going around this way to shoot at him. This transport went down to 0 and hung out there. This transport really messed me up too. The whole idea with this transport is to be kind of out in here, to be in the way of things, so that he can't make maneuvers to get in on the broadsides of my ships. So really this transport should be up here, hopefully surviving some shots, and then being in the way so that he can't move his ISD right into the side of my mc75. Because of the way I positioned, I ended up ramming my mc75 with his transport a couple of times, and he wasn't able to get over here on this side of the mc75 where he really needed to be. Another bad deployment, bad flying on my part. He has balled up his squads here. He sent, I think, Merrick in to do something. I'm not sure why he ended up sending Merrick in here. I don't remember what his thinking was. But I've got my A-wings over here in theory to try and stop him from sloaning this ship. I'm trying to set up a fighter screen. It doesn't work with Merrick because he has grit, but with the other ships, with the other squads, it works pretty well. So here is his price move. He has forced me to activate all of my ships and move. Now his ISD is going to swing into here. If he had had to move this ISD first, I don't know if I would have been able to move the mc75 into a better place. I don't know. This is the transport that's supposed to be over here somewhere blocking these kinds of moves. He probably wouldn't be able to destroy it with his front arc, but at least I would have had a chance at blocking him and not having him be able to swing around into here. The squads, he's got them, spread out, doing some damage, hopefully against me. That's his idea. I don't remember why he sent these guys over here. It's been a little while since we played this game. He did that for a good reason, I'm sure. And he's running his transports around this way, trying to just keep them out of the fight, sort of. This is the real big move in this game. He brings this ISD around into the sides of my mc75 and my mc80, and it's just bad news for everybody when he does it. So here he is right before killing my mc75. My mc75 didn't end up getting any shots off against ships. It did some squad flacking, which was pretty effective. So he has my mc75 double arced here, and he takes just a couple shots at it, and it dies. And then he starts working on my mc80. The Sloane squads didn't really become effective until working on the mc80. They did some work on the mc75 to kind of whittle it down a bit, but the mc80 didn't do well against, after I had lost this one big ship. The mc80 got some really nice shots into the ISD, but he had ECMs and could always use his brace, and since I didn't have two big ships shooting him to make him actually use up his brace, he was just always bracing it down, and it was taking me forever to get through, and there was no way I was going to be able to kill him after losing the mc75. So that is a problem with this fleet. If I end up losing one of my big ships, I'm in trouble. One thing that he suggested that might have helped me is if I had taken this mc75 and originally just flown it across here and made him choose with his ISD to either chase the mc75 and kill it or come in here and try and get the mc80, I might have had a better shot. I wouldn't have lost both of my big ships by keeping them right here together, and as ISD pointing at them, I end up losing both of them and getting tabled, which, is less than optimal. So here we are in turn 4. Green's progressing along. I think he's got me double arced here with the ISD on my mc80. I do have my chaff token here on this hull zone, so that helps a lot. I do like those. This guy, I didn't get him going soon enough to really be useful for anything. He's just sitting back here doing nothing in particular. Over here you can kind of see the ISD and the mc80. It's sort of neat looking. Anyways, it's bad for the mc80. So at the beginning of turn 5, you can see I've got my mc80 over here in his side arc. And so I'm not in his front arc anymore. You can see here, I'm just in his side. He has all of his squads left for Sloaning, which is it's a real problem. Because by this time, this mc80 doesn't have any shields left, and it just can't deal with these squads, especially Merrick twice, without shields. It needs some shields, and I've been doing engineering commands, but I can't recuperate the shields fast enough. I put my chaff token over here to eliminate a lot of attacking over there, because I think I had shields on these zones. So I took it down to 0 over here and built up my shields on this side and hoped for the best. This was really unfortunate. I had to land on this debris field. The mc80 did survive going around the ISD, barely. I lost a lot of shields, landed on the debris field, did even more damage to myself. The idea was maybe I'd be able to kill the Quasar. I was just trying to run out of his front arc at this point, and this is the place I ended up. I didn't end up getting very good shots on his Quasar, and this battle is basically over now. I'm very, very weak. I don't have much left on the mc80 before it dies. You can see here I've got this much damage on the ISD, but it's just too little too late. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Yeah, it's not enough. And the mc80 is going to die before it can ever get the full damage on there. Those ECMs on the ISD really helped him out a lot. So here we have it. This is the end state of the game. The squads moved in. I think it was Merrick and Jendon. I don't know, Merrick's over here. A couple of squads moved in and did me in. I couldn't withstand all of those attacks. So in the future, for a build like this, I'm not sure what I would do differently. The idea of maybe, if we go back to the beginning here, that's too far to the beginning. The idea of maybe here, instead of on this turn, where I turn my mc75 in like this to try and go up this way, to keep him going along out this way, and make this ISD decide that he wants to go kill the mc75, well then, my mc80 probably wouldn't have died. I might have been able to get to his Quasar. I don't know. That probably would have been a better decision. As it is, both of these ships ended up taking a ton of damage from the ISD when it turned in against both their flanks. So that's something I'm going to have to think about. My 4 A-Wings, they did all right. They made him wait until, I think, turn 3 or 4 to really start Sloaning, and that's not bad. If I can feed them in there and protect a couple of sides of my ships with those 4 A-Wings, that's worth the price of them. I do think I'm going to want to have a little bit of a bid to be able to go second if I want to against another 400-point fleet. So that's probably something I'll change. And I may relook at this contested outpost, which really made me predictable and kept me on this part of the map here where the outpost is. He knew I had to line up here to deal with his outpost so he could plan accordingly with his deployment. So those are some of the changes I'd make. It didn't go well for me, but I'm still optimistic about this fleet and the way it'll go. So we'll let you know how it does go after I fly it for a few rounds during the regionals here. And thanks for watching.